Hello everybody, and Jess here, and welcome back to Magia Record Season 3, the last one, Episode 1, in which I don't know what's gonna happen. I honestly don't know what's gonna happen. I mean, hopefully we will learn some information about Ui, hopefully we will learn a little bit more about Nemu's and Toka's plans. Maybe we're gonna learn what's wrong with Kuroe, that would be swell. But I'm not really... I know, we probably will, won't we? We have to, we gotta. Right, the previous season ended with a grand victory, right? The big bad Walpurgis Nacht is no longer a problem. The whole machinery thingamajig that was supposed to bring it here was Tsuruno was saved. Eventually, we learned a whole lot more about her, so that was also cool. Similarly, they're no longer... Madoka team is no longer listed on the list of characters for the third season. But yeah, what's the blonde girl from Madoka? I'm sorry. Fuck, why am I blanking on her name? Why am I blanking on her name? Her, in any case, she was also saved. She was also saved by Sayaka, right? By Sayaka and Madoka, I think. I think it was Sayaka and Madoka. Yeah, she was also saved, and Madoka's team just went away, went back to Mitakihara to worry about Mitakihara problems. And of course, Homura very much did not like this idea because, of course, when Madoka comes back to Mitakihara, she's gonna be killed or she's gonna sacrifice herself, yada yada yada. Whatever. We're talking about Iroha here and her team and her story. So, Iroha managed to get into the Hotel Fenthope, Hotel Fenthope connected, conjoined with the amusement park thing, into the HQ of Magius, let's just say, and she finally can talk to Toka and Nemu. It seems that Toka genuinely has no clue that Ui ever existed, but Nemu does have an idea. Nemu knows something she's not letting on. I have a sneaking suspicion that it was Nemu who was somehow responsible for deleting Ui. Why? How? I don't know. But that's my suspicion. And of course, on the way there, we can't have things be too simple, right? We can't have them be too simple. Kuroi is being haunted by her doppel, question mark? I don't know, something stopping her from engaging with her friends, something stopping her from doing things, and I have no clue where it came from, and I have no clue where it's going, especially in the span of 4 episodes, right? Like, we have only four more episodes, there is no movie, there is none of that, and we have to deal still with Ui, with Nemu, with Toka, and now also with Kuroe. Kind of out of nowhere, but yeah, we have to deal with her as well right now. So I wonder where those 4 episodes will lead us. I wonder. Yeah, again, what do I expect from today's episode? I don't know. It can be an episode of Kuroe going beast mode and fighting Alina Grey or whatever, or it could be an episode of Nemu reminiscing and we're just gonna see a flashback to how it all began. Or the Walpurgis Nacht could just turn around and go back to what's the place called? Whatever, it doesn't matter. Go back and, whoa, we have to fight it after all, or whatever. Anything can happen, really. anything and anything and everything can happen. So how about we just watch and see what does actually happen, right? To do it, you will need your subs to follow along with me. I'm gonna need my sound to hear what's going on in the show. There we go. And I'm gonna have to ask you for support. Support the channel if you want monetarily on Patreon or YouTube down below or not. Share my content, spread the word, it costs you nothing and helps a lot. And with that, we can start watching episode 1 of season 3 of Magia Record in 3, 2, 1, go! Opening or no? Straight into the backstory, okay. Blonde Alina? Why amethyst? Because of your eye color? Which makes it interesting that she disappeared from history, right? What happened then? That's the Uwasa. Like an Uwasa for angels. Calais, okay. So we know where the Uwasa originate. Again, yeah. Right, something would be left. Non omnis moriar, as they say. Eternal Sakura? Of course. Of course, Eternal Sakura would be Iroha's Uwasa. Yep. Makes sense, I guess, why Iroha ended up where she ended up when she was swallowed by the pit, right? Her own Uwasa dragged her in, or something to that effect. Oh, we suddenly turned for the worst, and that's what prompted Iroha to fulfill her wish, or to, you know, to say her wish, to speak her wish, so that the Kyuubey can fulfill it. Yeah, actually, I was about to ask, what are they even ill with, seeing how they can just eat random lunchboxes, they can run around the room, play, and whatnot. Why do they need to be confined to the hospital? But apparently, they are actually sick. Okay, there is no like, it's not just a plot device, being that, oh, they're confined to the room because they need to be. They're sick with an unspecified illness. Funny you mentioned that. How did she disappear though? Huh. Right, because she's now busy with her Mahou Shoujo duties, right? Mm-hmm. And Ui is going to make a wish like I thought. Oh, I wish I never existed or something like that. Because because of my existence, my sister now has to carry that burden. Zordon's calling. I don't know why Power Rangers just popped into my mind. I guess the like call signal, right? Toot, 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 toot. Oh, they're tracking her and they're gonna learn of the witches. Okay, that's how they learn of the witches of the Mahou Shoujo. That's where they make their wishes. At least Nemu and Toka. I don't know what's up with Ui. Whether she's gonna make a wish or not. Of course. Ever the fucking opportunist. Uh, you opportunist motherfucker. Kamihama. That's the name of the city. I remember now. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So Ui is going to make some wish. Smart. Right, so the whole scheme with doppels and stuff started as a way to save Iroha, did it? Mm-hmm. Yep. Gotcha. How did they manage to find this much information about them? Hmm. Interesting. Why would it be? I don't think it was ever stated that witches have, like, a particular preference for their victims, was it? I mean, also a lot of canvas. Is this where Alina hangs around? Kinda, sorta. Sure. See how he's never actually lying. Not a single lie. But not the whole truth either. Not a single lie in what he says. What's up with you, Alina? Yeah, legit. Did you? I wonder if you actually figured out the actual truth. They actually did? Well, damn. It can be avoided, kinda, sorta, but yeah. She certainly has the potential to become a witch. Mm-hmm. Easy, isn't it? People die, well, shit, we just need to make it not the case. Just remove death. New patch notes for Earth dropped. Update 2.0. Oh, we're back to current time? Or has Alina become a magical girl first before our trio? Curious. What does that power entail, though? Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, she creates Uwasa, right? And that's how Kyuubey was turned into a Juve, right? Nothing explains how did Ui disappear, though. Nothing yet explains that. Right, she's getting her entire henshin and all. Very cute, by the way. Right. Sure, let's say it makes sense. Okay, makes sense, actually. Mm-hmm. Oh, the rings fell off. But all of that power is siphoning into Ui. That's a doppel mask. So they sealed her until the plan is complete. Something like that? Alina's cubes, the power to seal, right? Yeah, don't break it. And it broke. Book. Uh, Juve is Ui. Holy shit. Doesn't explain why she was erased, but alright. Sure. And this is Embryo Eve, isn't it? Looks similar to Embryo Eve at least. Yeah, I wouldn't call it a success. Ui is manifesting, huh? I guess, kinda, sorta. Right, Embryo Eve, sure. Hmm. A very good question, actually. Okay. Sure. Eve. That's a nice name, isn't it? Hmm. And Alina created barrier around. Yep. She created the barrier around Kamihama, cut off all of the Kyuubeys. But Juve isn't cut off because it's not like phoning the mothership, but rather has its own soul. Ui's soul. Right? Right. I think I'm starting to get it. Okay. Alright. Oh, the same ending. I expected a new ending and new opening. Even though it's essentially like just a third of a core ripped away from a full season, technically it is a full proper new season, so whatever. Doesn't really matter, does it? Still gonna make a new thumbnail probably. Yeah, it explains things. Not quite everything, but a lot. And oddly enough, it even makes sense. It even makes a modicum of sense, which is not something you can say often about Madoka Magica. Anything after credits? Probably not. Yeah, nothing after credits. Oh boy. What a start to a start to a season. It's only technically a season, but still, what a start to a season. Let's watch it again, shall we? Yes, we shall. We gotta like pause at some moments for sure. So it really seems like Alina was the first magical girl in the hospital because she's working with some very witchy things already. Even before Iroha became a witch. Curious. Does the past have matter? Of course it does. Yeah, Iroha was their only connection to the outside world. Of course, they were the ones responsible for the Uasa. Do I cross out my theories now, or do I wait for the... I'm gonna wait for the finale. I'm gonna wait for the finale. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Yeah, I had a feeling that they were the ones who created the Uasa at the hospital. Right, they needed uh, to kill the time with something, and making up stories and writing them down, creating drawings and stuff would be a perfect way to do that. And there's also the added faucet. Uh, faucet? No, that's not the correct word to use here. The additional layer, I guess, would be better. Yeah, of trying to stay alive through their creations, right? Non omnis moriar. I will not die entirely, right? I will live on in my works. I will live on in my art. I will live on in my writing. I will live on in my creations. That's exactly what they're going for here. Kinda reminds me of Frieren and Himmel, how Himmel was erecting statues of himself all around the place to so that Frieren will not forget him, right? Those three are not necessarily creating those uasa for the sake of just anybody remembering them, but rather specifically for the sake of Iroha remembering them, right? Iroha overhears someone talking about Calation Land. She's like, "Oh, right, my sister made it." She's immediately reminded of it, and spreading those rumors on the interwebs. Eternal Sakura. I wonder what's the full proper significance of the Eternal Sakura. 4 chairs. Still, we gotta remember that. The promise of the 3 girls out of the hospital reuniting with Iroha. There's that. There is still that promise. So I wonder if it is the Eternal Sakura is a way to save Ui somehow. Maybe. Maybe. For a moment, I thought that, oh, 3 girls out of hospital, that could just be Nemu, Toka, and Alina, because Alina is also a patient at this hospital, apparently. But it says the 3 girls, so this specific trio. Yeah, of course, Ui is getting worse, probably like dying on her deathbed. That's the time to make a decision. Ui is fine, but at the cost of just not being able to visit, of just having to cancel all of those visits and forever being tired. So I was kind of correct in my assumption, in my theory that Ui did something to alleviate Iroha of her newfound duties. Yeah, essentially. Not quite the way I thought it would be, but the spirit of the theory is here. Also, I guess it really portrays well this sort of what you might call it, price to pay, kinda, I guess you could say, because okay, Ui is alive, but she kinda lost her sister. Right? There's that price. What would Ui have preferred? Would she have preferred to die soon, but have her sister by her side all this time? Or would she have preferred to live on, but with her sister only visiting every so often and rushing off at the beck and call of her ring? Right? Which one is better here? Which one is preferable? It's like she got sick instead of Ui. Yeah, kinda sorta. And just when they were able to spend some quality time together, the ring rings, and the trio is dragged in. If we want to be sure we can save her, there's so much we can research. Yeah, you gotta research a lot, and they actually managed to do some research about the witches. While witches are this like super extra hidden thing in this world, and nobody talks about it, nobody knows about it. Besides magical girls, there aren't going to be any publications about witches specifically. So, okay, sure, you got data about catastrophes, about suicides, about stuff like that. Not every single one of them would have been caused by a witch, though. I don't think, at least. So you're not entirely working with clean data. Also, yeah, the first victim is always a girl for some reason. I don't know why. Questions. This is great because they are asking all of the good questions, and Kyuubey is answering every single one of them truthfully. He never once lies. Never. Not once. But he's not saying the whole truth. Right? Yeah, they become tainted. That's it. What happens when they get too dirty? Well, you'll no longer be able to use your magic properly. Or to use magic when you're dead, am I right? Or rather, not being able to use your magic properly because you're gonna turn into a witch and you're gonna use your magic like wildly. It's not gonna be like you controlling it, but rather you, the witch. So, yeah, it's not gonna be a proper use of it. He never once lies. Girls are smart though. He didn't answer our questions, no, but he gave us enough to figure things out. Right? How, if the witches were to disappear, the magical girls would also disappear, right? They're connected somehow. They figured it out, of course. And we're making our wishes. We want the power you have. That's a wish and a half, isn't it? We want the power you have. Not consolidated, though, but rather split. The power to collect, the power to transform, and the power to manifest. Interesting. And specifically, let us steal it from you, Kyuubey. Not copy it. Not we want a copy of your abilities. No, we want your specific abilities. We want to steal them. And, curiously, Kyuubey is like, no, Masaka, Bakana, what are you doing? And yet he obliges. Which is interesting because it implies that Kyuubeys have no way to deny a wish. There might be a wish that they are not able to fulfill. Maybe, possibly. If you were to wish for world peace, the Kyuubey would probably not be able to fulfill that wish. But if it is something that is possible, he has to oblige. Interesting. Because that also kind of implies that it is a different entity, perhaps, granting those wishes. Not Kyuubeys, but rather the mothership somewhere in fucking Alpha Centauri or whatever, right? That's the implication I'm getting here. Interesting. We get some really nice henshin, triple henshin. This thing with the silhouette with just the face in the middle, that's like a staple. That's really just a staple of Madoka Magica right now to me. And it also kind of reminds me of the... do I have it somewhere on my desk? I should have. There we go. I have it. And can I show it? I can show it, of course. Display capture? Sure. This. I mean, same thing, isn't it? Uh, for the record, this is the face of Chaika Trabant from Hitsuki no Chaika. Highly recommend. Good show. Really, first thing that comes to my mind is Chaika's face here. Right? Really nice henshin. Way more of a henshin than Madoka Magica usually gets, at least the mainline series, right? Also, this is interesting. It's not for no reason that Toka brings upon a thing that just slams Nemu inside of a book. I think there's some symbolism here, how Toka just, I know, took control over the situation, just slammed Nemu and forced her to go with her plan, kind of sort of deal. I know. Like, Toka being the dominant one, I guess. Another cool henshin. And the third one with Ui. Ui, who has the power of trees. And the power to pick her dress out of multiple dresses that all look the same. Unless they don't. Unless there's actually like spot the difference thing here, and they are all ever so subtly different. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if they were each ever so slightly different. Probably not, though. That's a very cute henshin. Trying to squeeze through the neckline. Squeezing through a nice tiny hat. Tiny hats are cool. I like tiny hats. And the three of them have been henshined. Yeah, we use collection to gather the impurities. Then we use transformation to convert it into magic. Then we use manifestation to give that magic a physical form as energy. And we send that energy into the cosmos so that it, right? It can increase the entropy, so the exact goal that Kyuubey is after. Which is kinda interesting because why not do that in the first place? Like, sure, I know that the moment that magical girl becomes a witch is that like big, huge burst of entropic energy, and that's exactly what Kyuubeys are after. But this is also a way. Less efficient, though, which is probably why incubators discarded it. I have a feeling they might have like theorized about this way, but they discarded it as not efficient enough. That one big burst is more efficient, creates more energy, or something like that. But yeah, the plan is sound. Collect, transform, release. Kyuubey is empty. Interesting that the rings fall off when the Kyuubey turns into a shell. Interesting that they just walk away from their duty of transforming and releasing. Huh. Right? Wait. Could it be what did we in? They stopped transforming and releasing the magic, but we didn't stop collecting it? Because that's what's happening right now, right? Ui keeps collecting the power, but there's nobody to transform and release it. Where are you, Magia Record? There you are. Dotted line, season 3. Toka and Nemu not transforming and releasing energy was what did we in, since she kept absorbing it. That's legit what it looks like here. And I wonder, yeah, stop the collection process, but she can't. But she can't. Also interesting that her witchy manifestation has the doppel mask. Right? It's almost as if she was the origin of doppels, I guess. Or wait, or is it only Iroha that has the mask? No, it isn't. Kaede also has the mask. At least Kaede and other doppels as well, right? Interesting. Transform. Yeah, now they woke up. Now they started transforming and manifesting the energy. Thankfully, Alina has the power to seal, which really comes in useful here. She really clutched it. Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. The soul gem fell apart into two distinct pieces. The metal frame is like whatever, but the soul gem itself fell apart into this frame piece and the inner shard. Interesting. Because Nemu seems to have only procured the frame and also broke her fingers. Yeah, it's just the frame. We need a vessel. There we go. That's a vessel that holds half of Ui, doesn't it? The other half is inside of Embryo Eve. Half of Ui is in Juvie. Half in Embryo Eve. Yep. Exactly. That's why we hear the voice from Embryo Eve as well, because a chunk of Ui is still inside of Embryo Eve. Interesting that Nemu is like not whatsoever surprised, not whatsoever, you know? Because, okay, sure, Ui was removed from the world, even going as far as retroactively, being removed retroactively from the world, from reality. Okay. But I wonder what replaced the reason for Embryo Eve being here in Nemu's head. Instead of... I guess maybe it just was generalized. Right? Instead of this witch is here because we tried to save our friend, who is a magical girl. It got turned into this witch is here because we want to save magical girls in general. Right? And it's here, or rather, it's Ui's body turned into this witch, got turned into just, it's the result of what we did. Right? Like a very generalized idea of what happened. I guess that explains things. Why she's taking it all in stride. She's not surprised at all. Interesting. Interesting. It actually makes me wonder what was the explanation in like Iroha's head or in her parents' heads. Why is half of Iroha's room not furnished? Right? What would be the explanation for that? Huh. Interesting. A revolution will make for an exciting Wicked show. Wicked for sure. Exciting, I guess as well. Ui's very being was cut off from this world. Yes, separated from reality. Kinda like what happened to Madoka, I guess. Right? She became a transcended interdimensional being. Is this what Kyuubeys are as well? Do Kyuubeys exist outside of reality? That would explain things, actually. That would explain why, for example, if you kill a Kyuubey, it just reappears next to you again very quickly at just a snap of the fingers. Maybe they're like living in different realities and, oh, Kyuubey in reality 527 got killed, but thankfully the one in reality 528 is still alive, so let's collapse the possibilities to that particular reality where it's alive. Or, right? Something like that. That would explain things. That would actually explain a lot. Yeah, let's not kill the Juve. After the revolution, our names will never be forgotten. There is still that underlying idea of not being forgotten there, right? We failed. Yeah, kinda sorta. Kinda sorta. Which is surprising, honestly. It's honestly... There we go. It's honestly kind of surprising that they failed. Like, they were smart enough to figure everything out, but they weren't smart enough to, I know, perform a trial on a smaller scale. Right? Like, try to purify a single soul gem first. See how much throughput you have. Then try it with bigger and bigger and bigger amounts. Instead of just trying to purify all of the soul gems in the immediate vicinity, if not the entire world. Kind of surprised that they didn't think of it. Did they believe that Kyuubey's powers are absolute? Could be, I guess. Could be. Interesting. Interesting. This episode certainly explains a lot. You know? I would even go as far as to say that it explains a little bit. I don't want to say too much, but it just kind of explains everything about Ui, about the plan, about how everything came to be, right? I'm kind of. No, actually. I take it back. I wanted to say that I'm having a hard time trying to figure out what's the rest of the season gonna be. Because, oh, now we know the backstory, so sure, let's have an episode of trying to save Ui somehow. We have the Juve, we have the Embryo Eve. Let's just mash them together and get Ui back. Right? And we can all be happily ever after, four magical girls fighting together. Or whatever, right? This sort of a bittersweet ending where they didn't manage to save themselves from being witches, but they are all together again, alive, and they can keep being alive if they fight and fight good, right? Like, they failed, but at the same time, Ui is back, so it's kind of a success at the same time. But we still have more, of course. We still have the whole plotline of Kuroe. which I just don't know what to think of. Is it actually going to be a plot line? That's also a very good question. Perhaps her weird schizo moments in the previous episode were just, I know, nods towards the story of the game or something like that, and she's actually not going to be relevant in this season. I don't know, I'm not sure. I'm not sure how she fits into the puzzle. If she fits into the puzzle, even. Yeah, I guess they're gonna need those 4 episodes at least to tie everything up. And now that I think of it, if we are to cover Kuroe's story as well, they would need more than 4 episodes, I think. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the plan is. I don't know what the plan is for those 4 episodes. Well, 3 now. Yeah, interesting that everything was explained. And interesting that it was explained so well. Interesting that it actually made sense. I guess I just kind of get used to Madoka Magica not always making sense, right? Some things I just have to take in and be like, okay, sure, whatever you say, boss. Okay, let's roll with it. Cool. But in this case, it actually makes sense. Their plan makes sense. Ui's disappearance makes sense. How they learned of being witches, of magical girls and witches makes sense. How Juve came to be makes sense. Why is Alina, a seemingly very random person, a part of their little conspiracy makes sense. Everything really just converges and connects together and starts making sense, which is cool. Unusual for this franchise, very much unusual, but cool. I like it. I like it for a change. I really do. I really do. Anything else that we would need to talk about? Yeah, I wonder how their respective powers come into play in the plan, in the new plan, right? Because the old plan, we can see how that worked, but in the new plan, Nemu, creation. Okay, sure, makes sense. She creates the Uasa. We know that. Toka, transformation. Transforming humans' despair into the energy that's needed for the universe, right? Like using a different source of that energy. That could be it, maybe. Transforming witches into subservient witches. Transforming Tsuruno into an Uasa. Sure. Yeah. I guess. Interesting. Also, I guess it's also interesting how Iroha's wish backfired. Right? How it completely and utterly backfired. Iroha wanted her sister to live. Meanwhile, her sister got so fucking deadened, she got removed from reality retroactively. Right? That's one big backfire, isn't it? Also, another interesting bit. All this time, I was under the impression that when your soul gem cracks, you're done for. But apparently Ui's soul gem gets separated into two, and she still lives in one way or another. Also, in one of those scenes, Alina embeds the inner part of the soul gem back into Embryo Eve. I wonder why. I wonder what was the thought process. Like, oh, I broke your thing and now I'm gonna fix it, or I know. I'm not sure. Also makes me wonder whether we're gonna get Ui back or not. And if we do, then in what way, in what form? That's a very good question, isn't it? Because Ui's body doesn't exist. It just doesn't. Her body was turned into Embryo Eve. That's her body. Her soul, okay, sure, it exists. Half in Embryo Eve, half in Kyuubey. But her body doesn't. Unless if we connect the pieces of her soul back together, her body manifests spontaneously. That's a possibility, I guess. Still plenty of questions. For sure. We got a lot of answers, but also plenty of questions. But mostly questions for the future. Not questions about how the fuck things work around here. We know how they work. Now we gotta figure out where they're gonna go with them. Yeah. I think that's a good way to put it. I think that's it. I think that's gonna be it from me for this episode. But maybe you guys, maybe you have something more to add. If so, say so in the comments down below. What did you think of this episode, of my reaction, my theories, stuff like that? All about it down below in the comments. Like this video if you did. Subscribe to be notified of future videos, not only Magia Record, but also Freerun, Shangri-La Frontier, Majo to Yaju, plenty others coming in the future. Click the bell to be notified of when I go live, because I do go live sometimes. Support the channel if you want monetarily on Patreon, link down below, where for $10 a month you get early access to non-seasonal shows like Magia Record, and for just $1 you get a role on the Discord and a place in the credits. You can also support me directly on YouTube via memberships, super thanks, super chats, stuff like that. And if you don't want to spend any money whatsoever, you don't have to. Share my content, spread the word. It costs you absolutely nothing and helps the channel a lot. And now, with all of that out of the way, that's gonna be it from me for today. So as always, you guys do all the good stuff, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. Cheers! And here's my one for Patreons: Kyuubey, Without a Net, Group Survivor, Zayrainer, Akamaster, Dr. Watt, Marsh, UK Ally, Fussel, and Hans Peter. And you can join them without having to turn into a magical girl.